Hi, I'm Kent Fries from the VestScore Member Services team, and today I'm going to talk to you about the different forms of pension for your pension plan. So at this point, you would have signed a termination notice by both you and your employer would have signed it and sent it to VestScore, where we calculate your pension plan options. So for your pension plan, there are different options. There's six different options. There's the joint and survivor at 50% option, which is your normal form. And there's also the joint and survivor options of 60 and 100%. These options would be if you have a spouse. Now keep in mind, a spouse is defined under the Pension and Benefits Act, the PBA, as married to that person or 2 years common law. If you don't have a spouse, or if your spouse would want to waive their right to the survivor pension, there's also the life guarantee options, which you could appoint a beneficiary as you would want. So for the joint survivor pension at 50%, a few differences from the 60 and 100%. It is your spouse at the time of death. And also the survivor benefit amounts, we don't take into account the early retirement reduction factors that are payable. Now, if you do choose this option, your spouse would need to sign a waiver form, which is Form 5, because under the PBA, the Pension and Benefits Act, a survivor pension for a spouse would need to be 60% or more. So if we look at the 60 and 100% options, so in this case, it is your spouse at retirement. In the survivor amount, we do apply the early retirement reduction factors. So if there's no spouse, or if the spouse dies, 50% of the pension amount at age 65, so before application of any early retirement factors, is payable to any eligible dependent. Now if we take a look at the life pension guarantees, so in this case you wouldn't have a spouse, or your spouse would sign that waiver form. You could appoint a beneficiary. Now the beneficiary could be anybody you would want, a brother, a sister, or a friend, etc. You can name whoever you would want as a beneficiary. So the way it works, if you would take the life pension guarantee at 10 years, you start your pension, you're on pension for 8 years and pass away, your beneficiary at that point would receive 2 years of pension payments, 2 plus 8, which would be 10. So if you take the same option, the 10-year, you go on pension, you're on pension for 12 years, pass away. Unfortunately, at that point, the guarantee period has passed and your beneficiary would not receive anything. So if we take a look at what we call the preliminary retirement statement, this is really what the package would look like if you did, when you receive your retirement papers. So as you can see, option A, B, C, we see all the options that we talked about. So we'll take a look at the following page here. So if we take a look at the option A, which is the 50%. So on the left-hand side are the pensioner's amount. So the top amount would be $2,005.01. That is the amount of pension up until age 65. At age 65, at that point, would be decreased to $1,324.96. Now, if you were to predecease your spouse in that case, we look at the right-hand side, and the right-hand side would be what your spouse would receive. So for this calculation, it would be $772.41. Now, if you have any other questions about different forms of pension, preliminary retirement statement, you can definitely contact VestScore and talk to a member of the member services team.